So the other day I was invited by the Prison Journalism Project, PJP, to attend one of their meetings, and it was very enlightening. I had tried to get a job with them a while back, and I guess I remembered that. Um, but also, they do really good work. And one of the things that they're doing is training people on the inside of prisons to report on conditions, report on what's really going on. It gives the people who are incarcerated something to do. It helps teach them valuable skills that they might be able to use on the outside. And of course, it tells us all what really goes on inside. I hesitate a moment because I don't want it to be just sort of ratting out jail officers who are people too and who have families to take care of and stuff, although quite honestly, they don't think about those of us who are incarcerated in quite the same way, with some exceptions. But this particular person who teaches on the inside of one of these facilities and who asked that the person's name not be mentioned, but who also went to my site and was appalled at some of the things she had learned because they're so similar to what she knows. I'm going to share 3 quick stories for you. I'm going to read them verbatim from her email. And the first one is this: 3 stories. Please do not mention my name as I can get in trouble, right? Retaliation being against the civilian population as well. 1, an acquaintance of mine spent 1 year in prison as a, quote, chomo. So for those of you who like to call me names, pay very careful attention this time. After a year, he was exonerated. Good for him. But he had lost his foster kids and could not get them back. He told me that, quote, all the horrible stories you hear about how chomos are being treated in prison are true. He committed suicide shortly after release because he could not deal with the trauma. Where I work, I tell my students, I give all of you the benefit of the doubt, and that goes for what you call chomos as well. Then I tell them the story of my acquaintance. I hope it makes a difference. The second story that this person relates: one of my former students was released during the onset of the pandemic. He went to a halfway house. Despite having contact with released inmates, is frowned upon. I kept in contact with him. I'm reading just as she's written. He did all that was asked of him, went to programming, got a job, kept it, stayed off the drugs. Programming is classes that you can take to reorient yourself, maybe anger management, parenting classes, things of that sort. That's programming. Got a job, he kept it, he stayed off the drugs. Halfway house term was up. He had an apartment lined up, however, due to the pandemic, the current tenants could not be evicted. He was put on the streets. Big capital letters. He did what he had to do, couch hopping. With whom? Friends he used to hang out with. They got him in trouble the first time, because where else was he going to do but live in the woods? That's my editorializing. Back to her, quote, I was and still am appalled. He was set up to fail. He's back in prison. This is very, very common. And for those of you who think you know the differences, well, check it out. Who think you have solutions, check it out. Because this is so common that a thinking person would say, maybe there's more to it than just your simplistic understanding of the situation. And finally, the third one. My daughter has a friend whose brother was found not guilty, thanks to the Innocence Project. After 10 years in prison as a, quote, chomo, he was released with a big sum of money as an apology, only to find out that he was at stage 4 cancer, not discovered, let alone treated while incarcerated. I am so disgusted. Capital A, capital I, capital am, capital so, capital disgusted. This is Norman Michaelation for the 22nd day of October 2024. Take care of yourselves out there. Please subscribe. It helps us push the message out. Pushing the message out is the only thing that is going to make a difference and start changing hearts and minds and getting people to think of the damage that's being done.